again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynsk, but please call me Grizzer. This is the place you can pop in, get caught up on some of the latest news and the tidbits that are tied to our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns, and then we'll give you our take on the news. Along the way, thank you to everybody who's liked our previous episodes, all of you who have subscribed to the channel already as we make our climb towards 15,000 subscribers. I really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who gets your comments down there in the viewer comment section. They are a huge part of our little show. Speaking of, coming up, Todd Monken talking quarterbacks and keeping the dream alive. Now that Myles is gone, there's a real opportunity for someone to step up to help fill the gap. The haters and the rage baiters love to talk about QBR when they talk about Shedeur. But I'm here to tell you, you gotta stop. And in the viewer comments, what is clear about our quarterback competition? Ooh, the zinga. But it was media day at the OTA, the last media day at the OTA, because the next media day will be at the mandatory minicamp on next week. So, Todd Monken talked, Jared Verse talked, Schlesinger talked, Alex Wright talked. Alex Wright, man, he was impressive. We'll talk about him in a minute. But Jared Verse, also super impressive. Loved what he had to say. This guy, man, like walks in and he hops on a plane, comes to voluntary minicamp. He's like, okay, I'm here. I'm here at OTA. It's voluntary, but I'm here. He's out there working. Myles? No. Vocal leader, too. You know, he's very honest. So I'm telling you, man, there's a lot to love about Verse. You know, everybody had great things to say about him. And so, man, oh, man, you talk about making a great first impression. Jared Verse has already done that. The other thing that he did was wore number 8. And Dylan Gabriel's out there wearing 8, too. So I think I know who's going to win that number battle. I don't know if he's going to pay for it or just take it from him. But Dylan Gabriel probably will be going back to 5 or whatever he was wearing before, if he's even with the team. I think that he is bound for the practice squad. I think they're trying to give him some reps just so they can maybe generate a little bit of a trade interest with Dylan Gabriel. But Taylor Green is fully in the developmental mode because he's not getting many reps out there. How do we know? Well, let's look at the quarterback tracker. Shedeur, I mean, everybody raving about Shedeur. Great day yesterday. The 3 touchdowns. Hit Bond on a long one. Found Jerry Jeudy, who actually held on to one. Nice back shoulder throw. 7 of 15. I think I saw a couple that probably should have been caught. So the dropsies continue. Then you have Deshaun, 9 of 17, 2 touchdowns. And the pick. The pick was bad. It was a bad one. And then you got the former number 8, Dylan Gabriel, 3 out of 5 and a touchdown. So they're trying to get him some tape so they can get it out there, I think. Or, I mean, maybe they'll push him to the practice squad. I don't know. He could probably make it to the practice squad. Taylor Green's not making it to the practice squad. That would never happen. But Monken talked about the quarterback situation, and this is where it starts to get interesting. Now, this bite came after the set, so I put the bites in reverse order for a reason. But he was asked about Shedeur's improvement and the footwork and everything, and he said, I think that was, one of the things he had to work on, but also some of the decision making. He says, I think speed up moving through his progressions. I think the more reps you get, the more comfortable you get in progressing. Before the touchdown pass to Isaiah Bond, though, he did not look so good. He said he started to back up in the pocket. Really, probably would have been a sack, but we let it play out. So again, he's still a young developmental player that I think has come a long way. And I think he's got huge upside. And then he talked about the pass to Bond. And he said, well, I mean, that's just a part of the practice, right? It's a piece of the practice. I think Isaiah Bond has come on the last week and a half as a player. He's still a developmental player. Shedeur's really come on. I thought he had a really good day today. And then this, unprovoked. I thought Deshaun had a good day today. And so I thought both of those guys continue to compete. And you saw today, we've been alternating those guys. You're not just out here every day to see it. It just happened today. You were out here and Shedeur got all of the work with the ones. And so it leaves everybody. Monken says himself, he goes, one day I'm leaning Shedeur, one day I'm leaning Watson. One thing that's nice to hear him say is I feel like we have two starting caliber quarterbacks with both of them. He's saying either one of them can start. He hasn't made a decision yet. But I just feel that if all of this is true, then why not just name Shedeur QB1? If they are that close, and Shedeur is the development, he's the one with all the upside, the young developmental. Remember, Monken said it. He said it multiple times. We're in the player development business. He's development. He's saying all of those things. And so I sit there and I say, all right, I mean, it's got to be Shedeur. It has to be Shedeur. That's the mode we're in. The youth movement. Youngest, one of the top three youngest team in the, I got to believe I have to double check the age now. We had to move up after we lost, got added Jared Verse. Remember we were 4. We got to be 3 now. But it feels to me like that says Shedeur is in the lead. But unprovoked, he has to throw in there, I thought Deshaun had a good day. Yeah, I mean, why not? He's keeping that dream alive. And I can't help but think about the schedule and those first 2 games being on the road. And there is a big part of me that feels, and remember we talked about this a couple months ago when Fritz was on the show. It was the start of the NCAA tournament. We mentioned this, that the only way Deshaun Watson could start would be if the Browns started on the road. 2 games, their first 2 games on the road. And out comes the schedule. First 2 games are on the road. And why is this significant? Did you know? I'm going to go back to your when ESPN was in its heyday. Did you know? Did you know the last time the Browns opened the season with 2 games on the road was in 1986? They opened against the Bears and the Oilers in 1986. That's the last time this has happened. So between 1986 or 1987 and 2025, we have at least 1 home game in the first 2 games of the season until this season. It really feels to me like the Browns went to the league and said, start us our first 2 games on the road. Because if we have to start Deshaun Watson, we don't want him to get booed at home right out of the gate. We need to see what we have in a regular season game. Multiple. At least 2. And so, as good a day as Shedeur had, and Monken saying all of the things that kind of check the boxes of where this team is at right now, he's got all the upside. He's the young developmental player. He's he's doing all these things right. He's getting through his progressions better. His footwork is better. He's checking all of these boxes. Why not just come out and say he's QB1? But then he throws Watson's name in there unprovoked. And I look at that schedule, and for me, that is a big tell. And I remember I said I saw the schedule, but then the schedule release video comes out, and Shedeur's all over it. Then the videos come out after OTA yesterday. It's two Shedeur, Deshaun 1. Like, I'm drilling down in this and trying to figure out where is his head. And so this Watson dream, unfortunately, is still alive. And for me, the main thing is the 2 games to start the season. I mean, we haven't done it since 1986. Don't you think that's an eyebrow raiser? So, oh boy. And now he's kind of hedging his whole, I was going to have a starter name before I don't know. Now he doesn't even seem to be sure about that. But it is, oh boy. Like I said, this is the most compelling question since Who Shot JR. It really is. But that dream is still, that Watson, man, the Monken miracle, as I'm calling it, if Watson played, man, if Watson came back and played, started. And again, if Watson is named QB1, it means nothing to me until I see him in regular season games, because that's when he turns to jello. But I'm telling you, folks, this dream is still alive. As good a day as Shedeur had, I mean, everybody was so focused on Shedeur and a good day, and I said, I'm looking at this and I'm going, I'm not entirely feeling that. Unfortunately, I just don't understand. He's checking all the boxes, but you won't name him QB1. I don't get it. Okay, let's talk about some good news. With Myles Garrett gone, of course, everybody's, Jared Verse is this is not a void left in the defense with Myles Garrett being gone. It is more of like a little gap that's left, because bringing Jared Verse in here, yes, you take Myles out, you got a void. You bring Jared Verse in here, little gap. And it also provides an opportunity for somebody to step up and take the reins. And I feel like Alex Wright has already taken the first step in doing that, man. Did you hear him talking yesterday? He talked about, he had some nice things to say about Myles and how he helped him and this and that. But man, oh man, he really presented himself. And I think he knows, he is now, it's got to be him and Verse, leading this sack attack. And, he's stepping right into that role. I love what he had to say. But of course, Wright, we signed him to that contract, and he had 5.5 sacks last year, 37 tackles, 21 solos. And so, he was the wingman for Myles Garrett, but now it'll be him and Verse working together. Isaiah McGuire, this is a guy who, he's got something to prove. When he's healthy, he does a nice job. He had a couple of sacks, a forced fumble last year. He's got an opportunity. Aiden Huntington, undrafted free agent. Remember he was kind of all over the place. But he has an opportunity here to jump up the depth chart. Julian Aguirre, another guy, but he's been around a while. He's been in the league a while and still hasn't really made his mark. So I'm not so sure about that one. But then you got these three. Especially the first two. Logan Fano, the brother of Spencer, who was signed as an undrafted free agent. All Big 12 last year at Utah. 44 tackles, 4.5 sacks last year. But here's the guy, man, Tyreek Sapp. Sapp, total over 120 tackles, double-digit sacks, more than 20 tackles for loss during his career at Florida. He is something special. So he has a big opportunity here, as does Corday Sidor from Vanderbilt. And when he came out, listen to this. He scored an 8.39 relative athletic score out of a possible 10. That ranked 361st out of 2,239 defensive ends from 1987 to 2026. So just like us playing on the road 2 games, this is like the same time span. So in that same time span, from the last time the Browns started the season with 2 games on the road, Sidnor posted an 8.39 relative athletic score, ranking him 361 out of 2,239 defensive ends. So the guy has a ton of athleticism and promise. A lot of upside there. So one of those 3 guys is going to pan out into something and help fill the gap. Now, if you're thinking about, well, why can't we go get somebody who's more experienced? I mean, we mentioned Joey Bosa. For me, like, that is like the only one, but none of these guys fit the bill. They're all over 30, and some are severely over 30. Severely. Hassan Reddick, 32. Ex-Buccaneer. Cam Jordan, 37 now, from the Saints. Clowney's name has come up a couple of times. He was with Dallas last. I mean, they're saying he has 8 to 10 sack potential. So, so Clowney or Bosa, but Clowney's been here before. So I don't know. Andrew Berry will have a very personal opinion on Clowney because he brought him in here the last time. So I just don't feel like that's going to happen. Von Miller, way too old with the Commandos last year. And then Kyle Van Noy, I mean, there's the Ravens connection. If Monken wanted to do it, but, he's 35. And so, like, the gap is going to be filled by the guys who are already in the building. And it's going to be Wright, McGuire, and a couple of these young guys. Sapp, Sidnor. That's who's going to be able to take the reins and get in there and help out Jared Verse. This is, to me, is going to be more of a team effort when it comes to getting to the quarterback and bringing the quarterback down. I could see 4 or 5 guys having 6, 7 sacks or more. Verse is easily double-digit guy. And so you're going to get a lot of help in the middle with Malik Collins and Mason Graham, Mike Hall Jr., who was back out there. He had his knee wrapped, so at least he's back out there playing. He knows he's fighting for it. So, all of that talent inside is going to help that talent on the outside. And like I said, this is not a void by any stretch of the imagination left after the Myles Garrett trade. This is a smaller gap to fill than a lot of people think. We have a lot of talent in that building. Some guys, that's the other great thing about this, the trade. It opens up the opportunity for these guys, but it also gets you thinking, man, like all of these guys that they brought in, like I know Andrew Berry said this escalated like in the last week or so, but doesn't it seem like they may have known something like this was coming? I don't know. Seems like it, but we'll believe Andrew Berry. We'll trust in Andrew Berry. But hey, it's a good thing he did it because we got some talent there, just waiting to be uncorked. Now, talked about Shedeur and how I just don't understand how he hasn't been named QB1 yet, but this Watson dream thing is still alive, and it's mostly because of the 2 road games. Shedeur checking all the boxes. When all the haters and the rage baiters come out and want to talk about Shedeur, the only thing they ever bring up is QBR. And I try to explain to the haters and the rage baiters and the trolls, got to throw them in there too, that the legitimacy of QBR is severely questioned because this was made up by ESPN. People go so far as calling it fake. It is a fake stat. And why do they call it that? Well, let's find out. Of course I brought pictures. Just have to find it. There we go. Here's the picture. Why total QBR is called fake. It's the unreliable results right out of the top. There's a lack of transparency. So you can't independently verify or replicate the exact numbers like you can with passer rating. This leads to accusations of bias or manipulation. So, and like when you look, it's like ESPN, they share these high level explanations, but not the full formula. There's supposedly like 10,000 lines of code to this thing. And that's a big sign of frustration for people. Like nobody knows what this is or how you come up with this QBR. So you're not telling us, it's fake. The counterintuitive result sometimes ranks quarterbacks in ways that don't match box scores or the eye test, which is important for Shedeur. The eye test. That's what you have. I mean, it's huge. So they credit, sometimes QBR will credit or blame a quarterback heavily for situational factors or teammate performance. Then you got the subjective elements, things like crediting plays under pressure or dividing responsibility involve modeling choices that aren't fully public. So nobody knows what that's all about. And then you got the ESPN bias perception. Many people believe it's pushed to fit narratives, especially during high-profile games or with certain quarterbacks. Keep this in mind. Geno Smith and Tim Tebow also had low QBRs. And they played a heck of a lot more games than Shedeur. And so QBR is just not a legitimate stat. Haters, rage baiters, and trolls. It is just not something you can hang your hat on. So you have to stop when the conversation turns to Shedeur and all you could say is, oh, well, did you see his QBR? I'm going to save you the embarrassment. Haters, rage baiters, and trolls, just stop saying that. Please, just stop. Because everybody saw him improve over those 7 games. Everybody is seeing, and Todd Monken's saying it. You can see the development. You can see the progress. It's all there. He's putting in the work, getting better every practice, and can only hope that he will eventually be named QB1. But like I said, that Watson dream, the Monken miracle is still alive. So I don't know why I call it a dream. It's more of a nightmare than anything. What am I thinking? I'm going to have to go back and restart the show. That's the nightmare. But we'll see. Now, something that's never a nightmare, of course, are the viewer comments. And we'll start today with T Voltage 4391, who says, this is what we teased at the top. He says, it's not complicated. It's clear. Shedeur is QB1, the future. Watson is on his way out. Yes, I really, really want to believe that. T Voltage. But that schedule, man, I keep looking at it. Why? Why? For the first time since 1986 are we starting on the road when 2 months before the schedule came out, we said the only way Watson can start is if they play the first 2 games on the road. Sometimes it sucks to be right. Super Special -M9Y. Grizzer, I think Watson should come in on games either won or lost. First, before just being thrust into the starting lineup. Give the fans a chance to adjust. That's why they're starting him on the road. Super Special. That is your adjustment period. Those 2 games on the road to start the season for the first time since 1986. That's it. It's not about bringing him into games. It's about letting him play right out of the gate and see. The good thing is this. If that happens, I would give him those 2 games, and that is it. Because I don't want to waste this whole season. But the problem is, if he isn't, then Shedeur loses all of that, all the lead up. I think it's the worst problem of my life right now, dealing with this. SOB Chronicles. if the Browns don't want two and he balls out this year, they won't have a chance to draft a quarterback next year. Watson won't be on the team, and they're going to go young, and two is a chef on the field. Well, SOB Chronicles, yeah, that's what we're hoping for here. Because then our I want the quarterback search to end with Shedeur. If Shedeur takes the reins and never looks back, this team is set for the next 10 to 15 years with cap space and draft picks and all of it. That's the number one reason. Soda Pop Dave checking in. Soda Pop. Soda Pop went golfing the other day, he told me. Soda Pop. I like what I heard from Verse. He was honest about it. I also like that he flew here and went to voluntary practice right away. Seems like he is a vocal personality and wants to be the best. Very positive. Attitude so different from Garrett, who has been criticized for his lack of leadership in the past by several players. So this is a great start. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When if you're a leader, you don't run around Radio Row complaining about your team and your city. You know, and look at Verse. He's at voluntary OTAs. You know, so yeah, good take, Soda Pop Dave. Ronald E. McKnight doubles down on what Soda Pop Dave says and says, I agree, great move. We won nothing with Myles, only won 5 games last year and less than that the year before. That's the thing. Even with him. And last year especially, he set the sack record and we won 5 games. So it tells you everything you need to know. Quarterback and coach is what you need. You gotta have those. Or you have nothing. It doesn't matter what's going on with the rest of your team. Thraso Thrasavulu, the greatest talent evaluator that only we know. We know of him because he is on the show regularly and always provides us with his top-notch opinions. Thraso Thrasavulu says, I like the team Barry is putting together. I'm more convinced that Deep Podesta had control of the player roster and picking the talent. That's what Thraso and I are 1,000,000% in agreement. I've been saying this for like a year. They had to get Deep Podesta out of the way. Deep Podesta kept mucking up these picks, man, with his analytic nonsense. And so Deep Podesta's out of the way, and even the free agent. That's why I'm telling you, one of these edges, man, whether it's Sapp or Sidnor or maybe Fano. I'm not really. I think Sapp or Sidnor, man. These athletic guys. Tyreek the Freak. Let's go. He's already got a great nickname. Like, he's gonna hit on one of those guys. And then all the draft picks, he's like the signings, everything Barry has done. He is on an immense heater ever since Deep Podesta left. And I think it started with that draft last year when he said, hold my beer, Depot. I got this. And he went nuts, other than Kevin Stefanski taking Gabriel in the 3rd round. That's what I always say. They gave Stefanski one. He said, can I just have 1 pick? And they're like, okay, you can have 1 pick in the 3rd round. He goes, okay, I want Dylan Gabriel. And they were like, oh, God, man. We shouldn't have done that. So that's why I think that went down. But we will end today with Chris-D9C71, who says, I'm just going to say, wouldn't it be crazy if the Browns messed around this year and somehow made it to the Super Bowl versus the Rams? Wouldn't that be crazy? Yeah, I said it the other day. Don't forget, the only 2 coaches who weren't in the coaches picture, Monken and McVay, and we were talking about it then. We're like, that's your Super Bowl sign. Remember? The other sign is the colors on the Super Bowl thing. By the way, I already bet the Rams and the Browns on the Super Bowl. I've already bet it. So you know, especially after the Garrett trade, I was like, okay, yeah, this just feels like I would regret it if I didn't. So I will bet it both ways. Rams beating the Browns, which I think I think the Browns get there. I feel like we're gonna have the season New England had last year, where we have a great regular season, we made a good run in the playoffs, we get to the Super Bowl, and then we just need to take that one more step because when you're playing up Stafford and all his experience and all that, and they're playing in LA and he's gunning for it and all that, So we'll give them this year, but I'm gonna pick the Browns beating the Rams too. I'm betting it both ways. I bet the one. I'm going to bet the other one. I got to get it in today. So plus 50,000 for the Rams to beat the Browns, plus 60,000 for Cleveland to beat the Rams. So a $5 bet will win you $3,000 if you think the Browns will beat the Rams in the Super Bowl this year. All right, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for joining us. Man, it's going to be a fun season. I can already tell. That'll do it. Thank you so much. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.